Hello friends, in our previous discussion of damped free vibration system, we have discussed about the equation of motion. Now, today we will discuss about the types of damped vibration system, in which we are only taking a case of our damped system. In our previous discussion, we know that if we are considering a damping, this is the mass. If you are considering this spring having this stiffness K, having a damping coefficient of this damper is C, then we know that the free body diagram of this mass, restoring force by spring Kx, restoring force by this is Cx dot, and inertia force Mx double dot. On the basis of this, the equation of motion is given by the is equals to 0, and the auxiliary equation of this second order differential equation is this is the auxiliary equation, and from this equation the solution of this auxiliary equation, the roots of these auxiliary equations are, we have calculated in our previous video, damped vibration, this is the equation of roots for this damped vibration system. Now if we are converting in terms of a damping factor, then we also know that this critical damping is given by twice m omega n, and also the damping factor zeta, which is equal to the C upon Cc, and from this we can calculate the damping coefficient, which is equal to your twice m omega n multiplied by zeta. Now if we are putting the value of this C by 2m from here, then the roots are, if you are putting the value of this C by 2m is equals to your omega n zeta, then the roots of equation are omega n zeta plus minus under root of omega n square zeta square minus, and we also know that from our natural frequency of system k by m, under root k by m is the omega n, that's why this is also a omega n square. Then by solving plus minus, if you are taking omega n as a common, then our equation is, this is the equation for roots, and we have converted this in terms of this a plus minus b, where the value of this a is this and the value of b is this. Now on the basis of this roots, we can define the damped vibration system. That's why the type of damped vibrations defined on the basis of this factor zeta, we can define the various types of damped free vibration. If the value of this zeta is greater than unity, then from this it is clear that if this is greater than 1, then this term is positive term. That's why the roots are real and negative, and the condition is known as the over damped system. Now if you are considering this zeta is greater than 1, it means the condition for overdamped is the value of this damping factor is greater than 1. If we are considering it equals to 1, then the system is known as a critical damped system. Now if we are putting this zeta in 1, then we know that this term is 0. That's why equal roots are there, and if equal roots are there, then the system is the critical damped system. Now if the value of this zeta is less than 1, third case, if the value is less than 1, then this term is negative terms, and if we are removing this negative terms under root minus 1 into iota, then the solution of this equation is, or in terms of a imaginary roots, that's why the system is known as the underdamped system or underdamped vibration. Now it is clear that for overdamped system or overdamped vibration, the value of this zeta is greater than 1. For critical damped, the value of this damping factor equals to 1, and for underdamped, the value of this damping coefficient should be less than 1. Now today we will discuss only this overdamped system. How can we solve this overdamped system? We are solving the overdamped vibration. Now it is clear that for overdamping, the value of this should be greater than 1, and according to the roots equation, plus minus omega n under root of, and if you are considering this is in terms of AB, then the roots equation for this zeta greater than 1, this term is positive term, that's why the roots are real and negative. And we know that if the roots are real and negative, then the equation of motion is given by constant A1 exponential power a plus b into t plus constant A2 exponential power a minus b into t. Firstly taking this a plus b and then a minus b. Now from this it is also clear that this can also be written as, if you are taking this exponential a as a common, then exponential power bt a2 exponential minus bt, and by putting the value of this a equals to this and b equals to this, then our equation is minus omega n zeta t into a1 e की power omega n t under root of zeta square minus 1 plus a2 e की power minus omega n t into zeta square minus 1. This is our equation of motion. We can define the equation of motion by this, and if we are considering the velocity, then the first derivative of this, then find out the derivative of taking as this as constant and find the differential of this, taking this constant and differential of this. If you are taking this as a constant, then a1 constant minus 1, then omega n into under root of j square minus 1, then plus a2 as it is omega n under root of j square minus 1, and then minus omega n under root of j square 1, that's why this is equals to minus, and we can omega n write down in this fashion. Now taking this as a constant, then plus this is as a constant, a1 omega n under root of j square minus 1 plus a2 exponential of this, and differentiating this, then the differentiation of this is your exponential power omega n t multiplied by minus omega n z. This is our equation number 2. That's why from this equation we can calculate the boundary conditions. Now if you are putting the boundary conditions, then the first boundary condition is this is equals to your x naught if you are considering at t is equals to 0, and then this is your v naught at t is equals to 0. It means the boundary conditions for our amplitude and for our velocity at t is equals to 0. Now applying these boundary conditions, for this applying in equation number first, if you are applying at t is equals to 0, this is 1, this is 1 and this is 1. That's why our equation becomes x naught is equals to your a1 plus a2, equation number 3. And if you are putting a value in this, we know that for these conditions, if you are putting for this condition, then this equals to your 1, then this is your a1, then this term, then a2, this term, then by putting value, second boundary condition, v naught is equals to your, this is 1, this is 1, then a1 minus a2, this is your 1, then a1, this is common, a1 minus a2 common, omega n under root of zeta square minus 1, and for this is your 1, this is your 1, that's why a1 plus a2, and this is your 1 and multiply by this, that's why this is your minus omega n zeta. But we know that this a1 plus a2 is your x naught, that's why a1 minus a2 omega n under root of this minus x naught omega n zeta from second boundary condition. This is the value by applying the boundary conditions. Now if we want to find out the constants a and b, then two equations and two constants, and for this if we are considering that this is a1 minus a2, this is a1 plus a2, then multiply by this equation both the side by this, then our equation becomes omega n under root of zeta square minus 1 multiplied by x naught is equals to your a1 multiplied by omega n under root of zeta square minus 1 and plus a2 omega n under root of zeta square minus 1, equation number 5 from this third number equation by multiplying both the sides omega n under root of zeta square minus 1. Now adding these two equations, if you are adding these two equations, then our this term is equals to your v naught plus x naught omega n under root of zeta square minus 1 is equals to your only a1 terms is there, this is minus and this is plus, cancel out, only a1 terms is there, that's why twice a1 omega n under root of zeta square minus 1, and this term is minus x naught omega n zeta. From this equation we can calculate the value of this a1, That's why the value of this A1 is equals to your plus x naught omega n under root of minus 1 and plus transferring this x naught omega n zeta divided by the value of this twice omega n under root of the zeta square minus 1. This is the value of constant A1. If we have the value of this constant A1, then by putting the value in this equation third, we can calculate the value of A2, and the value of this A2 becomes, if we are putting this A1 in this, then the value of this A2 becomes V0 plus x naught omega n under root of zeta square minus 1 and minus x naught omega n zeta divided by twice omega n under root of zeta square minus 1. These constants can be found out, and according to this, now our equation first, which is in a exponential function, that's why if we are plotting a graph between our values of this A1, A2, and then from equation number first, the equation of motion for our overdamped system, we know that this is the time function. If at t is equals to 0, that is we are considering that the value is the x naught, and then if we are considering the value of this A1 and A2, then the A1 is positive and the exponential terms is there. That's why this is the graph. A2 is negative, exponential graph is there, and if we are plotting our equation number first, then the graph always in terms of this exponential decreasing graph. That's why from this it is clear that if we are plotting a graph from the equation number first, then it is a exponential decreasing graph and it is a non-oscillatory or non-vibratory system. And if we are giving some disturbance to this type of the system, then it will take a infinite times to come to the equilibrium position. That's why this is a non-vibratory system and known as the overdamped system. Thank you. In our next lecture, we will discuss the critical damped and underdamped systems.